Hello and welcome to ThePrint. Today we are joined by someone who's seen different sides of Kashmiri politics. At one point of time, he has been with the separatists. He's been a former minister in the Jammu and Kashmir government, and today he's the president of Jammu and Kashmir Peoples Conference party. We are joined by Mr. Sajad Lone. Welcome to ThePrint.
Hi.
Sajad sir, straight away talking about the political environment here. You've been at one point of time a separatist as well. Where do you see that movement today? Separatist movement led by Hurriyat in particular.
Well, I think at the moment it's in a very, very dormant state. And there have been stages of dormance, and then at times it's flared up. And let's hope it doesn't flare up anymore,
Right.
especially the violent part.
Right.
So I would say that's on the back foot.
Right. So a lot of people that say that it's dying out. Do you think so?
I really would want that the forces of integration score, but to actually for anything to die politically,
Right.
it takes a lot of time.
Right. So moving on to my next question. Very interestingly, on your Twitter bio, you write muted bystander, once upon a time politician in Jammu and Kashmir. Why is it so?
Yeah, because there is no space for politics here, very little space compared to the rest of India, where their people have their rights. They have an MLA, they have an assembly, they decide what to do, we don't.
Right.
Someone else decides for us.
Okay.
So that's why I said once upon a time politician. Means that there was a time when there was politics in J&K state when there were rights for the people of J&K and they would elect their people. Muted bystander is because, speaking the truth is a bit scary, very scary. Yeah.
Is it particularly after 2019 or it has been so for a long time?
Well, in Kashmir, in J&K, it has been there for the last 3 decades. Aisa nahi hai that it's been very bad today. For people like us,
Right.
it was there always for 3 decades.
Okay.
For others, they are new to the system. The others, the pampered ones. For
Right.
them, it's new. For us, it's
Right.
been for 3 decades.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's one more thing that there are multiple reports that suggest that your brother might take a dive into politics, Mr. Bilal Lone. Do you think that will possibly affect your vote bank in North Kashmir?
No, I don't. Everybody has a right to fight.
Do you think that will affect your vote bank in particular?
No, it doesn't. No vote banks are fixed.
Right. There's one more thing that former Jammu and Kashmir Governor, Mr. Satyapal Malik, in an interview, he alleged that with 6 MLAs, you wanted to be the chief minister of the state. Do you think, is it correct, or what are your comments on that?
Mr. Malik has verbal diarrhea.
Okay.
And while, he can't keep his mouth shut. And he lies through his teeth.
Right. So what do you think about these claims that he's making?
Baseless claims. I'm an idiot that I would call him and say I have only 6.
Right. Because we asked this because at one point before the assembly was dissolved, you staked claim to form the government. So are you sure you had numbers back then?
Yeah, that's something which is a closed chapter now.
Right.
But yes, of course, when we went there, we would have had numbers.
Right. So moving on, there are a lot of people who call you as BJP's B team as well to some extent. Now they say this because they say that the new assembly seat, the only assembly seat that has come up in Kashmir after delimitation, that is in your area of influence. They say this because you've been part of that government. You were the first person also to exit the Gupkar alliance, which was seen anti-government. So what are your comments on that?
I feel it's belittling to even talk about it.
Okay.
Why should I be a B team or A team or C team of
Right.
anybody? But now that you asked this question, I was an animal husbandry minister there. There was a
Right.
chief minister also there.
Right.
So she's not, but I am.
Right.
And then before me or before both of us,
Right.
there was someone who was even the foreign minister.
Right.
So it's basically pedigree. There are people who think they are elite, they are
Right.
above everything, they can sit and dine with anybody, but anybody else who is not their class,
Right.
political class or social class, is somebody is a person outside the class, and so they come up with all these innuendos. And frankly, I don't give a damn.
Right. So, talking about the political environment, if elections were held maybe the coming year, where at present is People's Conference in that?
We're trying our best. At the end of the day, it's in the hands of the people.
How many seats do you
I
expect?
can't put arithmetical values to the number of seats, but I'm sure we will do well.
Do you think that you can go beyond North Kashmir this time?
Yeah, we have many leaders. The problem is that they always tag you. So we have very good leaders in South, we have good leaders in City, in Budgam. There is an ecosystem. There is a certain ecosystem which ensures that there are barriers to entry to anybody who is trying to break in to the cabal, to the predetermined fixed cabal. So we're seen as disruptors to that ecosystem. So they will always tell you he's in North, he's in North, or he's A team, he's B team, he's C team. So let's wait and see. I'm sure that whenever the elections are held, if they are ever held, there will be winds of change.
Why do you say if they're ever held?
Because the incentive for not holding elections, Delhi has erroneously created huge stakeholders. Right, huge stakeholders never seen in the history of modern India, in any state, where I'm sure they might, where they might not allow elections, might be delayed indefinitely.
By huge stakeholders, do you mean like there are a lot of political?
The current administration. Yeah, there are people who, without the oversight of an MLA, without the oversight of a chief minister, without the oversight of a minister, they are the ones who are everything. Which other bureaucrat in the entire country would have this power?
Right. So since last elections were held in 2014, it's been 8 years. It'll be almost 9 years since the elections have happened. What has changed since elections were last held in 2014 in the valley, in Jammu, in the whole state?
There has been the 5th August event, right? Unfortunately, that has been there, and total, utter disempowerment, not only of the people of Kashmir, but also the people of Jammu. It's just that Jammu people take longer time to understand.
Right. So, why do you think they'll take longer time to understand?
They always have. I would say, I think the political parties in Delhi have always taken them for granted. So, always pitted them Jammu versus Kashmir thing. And I think today they would know that we are all losers. If there is any winner, it's the bureaucracy.
Right. So, like you said, Delhi parties pitch this Jammu versus Kashmir. There are those in Delhi who allege that Kashmiri parties make this competition happen between Jammu versus Kashmir.
No, I could be. I'm not saying that all angels live in Kashmir. Right? There might be devils here, but all angels don't live in Delhi either. So so it's maybe I don't deny it could be, but the gainers have been the parties from Delhi. They have gained immensely.
And today, as Supreme Court is yet to hear the case of Article 370, what is your stand on Article 370, its abrogation, and 35A?
I think we should get our Article 370 back. It's a special status which was promised to us. No state in the entire country would want to give away its special status. Why on earth would we want to give it away? And since it's been done by brute majority, the only other option that you have is the court. And we will have to wait, or maybe, look, I'll tell you something, nothing is carved in stone. Nothing is carved in stone. I have not given up that it will come back constitutionally, but maybe now, maybe someday in the future. But legal avenues are always there.
Right. And if there comes a time where elections happen, results come out, and you have to go for an alliance either with parties that are part of maybe Gupkar alliance or with the BJP, which side would you choose?
I would love to sit in opposition, but our main thing would be, if depending on the number of seats that we get, right, and what matrix or what matrix comes up. But my vote would always be for statehood. I would try to strive for the sole reason I would go into elections today would be to get my statehood back, and I would do what it takes to get that statehood back.
So, even if that means that you have to ally with BJP at some point of time?
No, it's difficult to ally with them because after what they have done, right? But we would personally strive that let's first sort of get together and vote for the statehood. That's immediately on the mind, because there is no development, nothing can be done unless and until we don't get our statehood back.
So you're saying the first priority is statehood for you, and what other issues will you be going in elections with?
There are many issues on the development side if we get our statehood back, because without statehood you wouldn't be able to contribute a lot, and that, of course, that would be a whole thing. But on the other front, when it comes to violence, when it comes to other, I think we really need to convince Delhi, convince the people of India especially, to have a relook on the whole this Kashmir terrorist business. Okay, fine, you go after terror, you go after terror networks, but also go after those who created this terror network, who created the environment for terror. We would certainly want a judicial commission for 1987. The rigging, who did it, why did they do it, and want a closure to it. At least have an FIR issued for those who did it.
Why
that
do
would be the least we can do for those thousands of graveyards that have been created post 1989.
1987.
1987, yeah.
Right. So you are connecting current situation with 1987.
Who can't? There has been no closure to 1987. After 1987 elections, then came the gun, then the killings, then counter killings.
Right.
And till date, even every killing that takes place can be traced back to 1987. There is no closure, and people of Jammu and Kashmir deserve a closure. Now that you're going after people, like, aren't these the same people who fought elections in 1987? And they were forced to pick up the gun. We condemn them picking up the gun, but at least now, book those who pushed them to that stage. It can't happen that you just keep your eyes closed and want us to believe that you have some problem with the National Conference or the Congress when you are not willing to punish them. Yahan to, if you have a Patwari who takes a 500 rupees bribe, you lock him in. And this is, you're talking of thousands and thousands of people in graves with bullets in their bodies.
Who's responsible for 1987?
NC and the Congress, of course. Everybody knows it. They were responsible. They rigged it so blatantly. After that gun came. Why didn't gun come before?
Moving ahead, do you expect People's Conference to be part of the government in the coming election?
I don't know. As I told you, it's too early to say. Let us see how the matrix is, how people vote, what their preferences are, how fractured or less fractured the new setup will be, and then let's hope first they hold elections. That's which as of date I don't see anywhere in sight.
Thank you so much, Sajad Lone, speaking to us.